Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Time and Tide, celebrating watches, wearers, and their journeys since 2014.
Thank you very much for tuning in to the first sort of sneak peek at the novelties from this year's Pilots collection at IWC. Really excited to be sharing that with the Time and Tide viewers today. Fantastic opportunity. You know, the Pilots collection is at the heart of what we do. You guys rock. Anyway, just wanted to say that. And of course, this whole love affair between IWC and aviation goes back over 85 years. Actually, it goes back to the 1930s when the Homburger family owned IWC, and their sons were actually passionate pilots, both civilian and military. And they asked their dad to make that first watch for pilots from IWC from 1936 here on my side. And then really the design of today's Pilots collection has two other watches that directly informed it. Firstly, the Mark 11 here from 1948. This was a super high precision observation watch for the Royal Air Force back in 1948, and later on all the Commonwealth Air Force, including the Royal Australian Air Force, and that we produced all the way into the 1980s. And even Sir Edmund Hillary was issued Mark 11 as his personal navigation watch for his transatlantic expedition of 1954 and 55. And the second inspiration was really the Big Pilot. Now, this was a pure form follows function, oversized instrument watch designed in 1940 to fulfill but a single purpose. And when IWC reintroduced that into the luxury watch market back in 2002, it really went beyond the world of aviation and became really this statement of utilitarian luxury, I'd say. And over time, that watch has really gone from a purely functional instrument watch to what's nowadays really a design icon of sports watch design. But being 46 millimeters, you know, for a lot of people in a lot of different markets, that's always been a limiting factor in terms of ergonomics. And we set ourselves that challenge at IWC. Can we create a Big Pilot that looks and feels every bit like a Big Pilot should, that instrument on the wrist, but that just becomes a lot more wearable for a lot more different wrist sizes. And the result of that is really our all new Big Pilot 43 millimeters. Now I'm going to show you, just for comparison, the current 46 millimeter model, if we zoom out one, and side by side the new 43. And I'm missing my torch, Jessica, sorry. So we have the zoom out, please. Morning first presentation, there we go. Thank you. So you can immediately see the difference in the case size here. We've gone for complementary dial layout in the Big Pilot 43 that has no power reserve indicator disrupting the dial and no date. So that answers to a lot of clients who keep asking us for a very pure expression of Pilot's watches. You see the difference in the case height immediately. When I flip the case on its side, you can see the difference in height there. But you also see that it's not a proportional scaling down exercise. We actually looked at every dimension individually to ensure that the wearability is there, but the watch still looks and feels like a Big Pilot. And especially that crown is absolutely key. We've reproportioned the crown in the sense that you don't feel it on your skin anymore when you move your hand. And that's really been key here. Also the luminous layout, you see here that cross layout on the 46 model. And then we have a full luminous hour markers, hands and index layout here. And if I just charge that with a torch quickly, you can see party trick here. You know, you have that full luminous layout here on the 43 millimeters. Turning it over, we'll see the difference straight away in the case back, in the closed case back on the 46 versus that 43 millimeters now with an open sapphire crystal case back. We have our in-house 82 caliber high-end movement with a smaller diameter, a Peloton bidirectional winding, ceramic components, and 60 hours power reserve. We've upgraded the water resistance to 10 bar or 100 meters. And in that spirit of sports, we have introduced here our ease exchange quick change system at the touch of a button, allowing us very easily to detach the straps from the watch on a standard spring bar. That spring bar is removable, meaning you can actually change it to any other accessory. But within IWC, if you want to go for sports, for example, we've got these Big Pilot typical riveted rubber straps that we've added to the collection, also with the quick change system integrated. I can click that onto the spring bar, and literally in a matter of seconds, I've transformed the Big Pilot 43 millimeters to a fully functional ocean-going 100-meter waterproof sports watch. Having reduced the size of the case also allows us, with that reduced weight, to offer the Big Pilot here in the blue dial on a stainless steel bracelet for the first time. We now have this really nice feeling tapered design 5-link bracelet, part brushed, part polished finish. We have a fine adjustment system here in the clasp, which gives you 5 millimeters of adjustability on that ratchet system inside the clasp, and then the same finish. And even on the metal bracelet, you have that quick change functionality where you can very easily detach the bracelet from the same spring bar we use for all of the other straps. And you have really got full flexibility between the different versions. Starting lineup will be 2 models on leather in blue and in black, and the stainless steel model on blue, but they're all interchangeable. And that really gives you a complementary size, a complementary dial layout, and also a complementary price point, a reference price point here. Do we have Australian dollars? We don't, but Swiss francs, 8.9 for the leather version and 9.9 for the stainless steel version. The second big focus point for IWC has always been our Perpetual calendars, especially in sports watches. And I think it says a lot about who we are as a watchmaker, that we combine an ingenious mechanical microcomputer for the wrist, like the Perpetual calendar, with a sports watch case in stainless steel, like the big Pilot, and then powered by our 52 caliber in-house movement with 7 days power reserve, making this a very, very ingenious and complicated mechanical watch that is at the same time extremely wearable and robust with huge power reserve and to be worn and enjoyed every single day. This is at a reference price point of 31,000 Swiss francs, really the new entry point to our Perpetual calendar range in stainless steel on the blue dial, with a beautiful northern and southern hemisphere moon indication, which is very useful to our clients in Australia to see the moon the right way round rather than what we have here in Europe. Moving on from there, next really big launch I'm very excited about will be our new Chronograph 41 millimeters in the Pilots. The blue dial Chronograph is already our most popular sports watch from IWC. We're now really, really happy to be offering this watch in a new, completely re-engineered ergonomic 41 millimeter case. This features our in-house 69 caliber chronograph movement, that typical day date layout, even though that's partly covered now by being 9:15 in the morning here. You see the running second at 6 o'clock, which is typical of our 69 caliber. Comes on many different strap and bracelet options, including this same beautiful tapered 5-link bracelet with all of the functionality of fine adjustment. The glass case back showcasing 69 caliber, 10 bar, 100 meters waterproofing, and the same quick change functionality here on the spring bar, allowing you to quickly change between the sporty stainless steel look to maybe the more classic Pilot's look on the dark blue calf leather. And then the one I really love and that really surprised me is that really nice dark racing green, which is becoming so popular in all of our sports and classical watches. But on the Chrono 41, it's just stunning because you have a color range depending on light from almost black to quite a strong pop of the green, depending how the sun hits it. And here on a dark brown calf leather, but also on the steel, it really is, beautiful, beautiful colorway in a sports watch like the Chrono 41. So initially we have...
Chris, are you wearing that on bracelet at the moment?
Sorry, can I... Say again?
Are you wearing that model on bracelet at the moment?
No, I've got the SFTI chronograph here at the moment, but I'll reconfigure that in a minute because I do think that this is a very interesting one. And I was actually surprised because I'm somebody who wears a lot of blue. But when I started wearing the 41 chrono, I actually went for green dial on bracelets. That's and it's one that really surprised me because it's such a good look when you have the pop of the green dial. And thanks to the quick change system, I can actually reconfigure this quickly. So let me...
That's so cool.
Let me pop this on for you.
If I was to describe you, Chris, I would say you're a bit of a desert tones man. The khaki, the sand, is that pretty correct?
Yeah.
Whoa,
so
yes.
Literally you have that combo now. Super comfortable bracelet. Great wearability.
And how many bracelets do you, with this quick change option now, do any of the watches come with multiple bracelets, or is it a single bracelet and then you can bulk up in store?
It's a single bracelet, but that is obviously reconfigurable in store or online. And then obviously over time we're introducing then all of the colored rubber straps for these watches. We have embossed textile straps for these watches, and we're rolling out the quick change to more and more of the strap types. That's a bit of a re-engineering exercise every time you change material, because you can imagine in a strap like this, you actually have a lot going on in a small space. You have the rivets on top, you have that contrast stitching, you have the top leather, then we have a metal spring plate that has to be integrated, the leather at the bottom, you have the lining, the contrast stitching at the bottom, and the spring button. So this is quite an engineering exercise. And then, of course, if you do The integration in the rubber strap, it's again a completely different way of integrating the metal parts into the rubber molding. So every time we change the material of the strap, it's a bit of a re-engineering exercise, but we will roll this out across all the sports watch models over time to make sure that it's easy to use, yet robust and 100% secure, which is, I think, what people are looking for, especially when they're heading down to the beach and so on.
Okay.
So from the Chrono 41, I mean, maybe the price point references in Swiss francs here is 6,900 Swiss francs on leather and 650 Swiss francs on stainless steel. So making this really at the heart of that sports watch market where you have a very wearable ladies and gentlemen size of 41 millimeters combined with a strong offering of in-house movement, waterproofing bracelets and so on. So very proud of this one. Then Top Gun, of course, this is going to be a big one in the summer. There might be a certain movie coming along if theatrical releases are going the way they're supposed to go in terms of COVID. But for us, it's really an opportunity to talk about our long-standing relationship with the US Navy and Top Gun. Obviously, we are, I think, the biggest licensee in watches now with the US Navy across all of their properties. And we've been making watches for Top Gun instructors, starting with the SFTI watch, which this is the civilian version of, by the way, that we launched last year. But the original Top Gun SFTI, I don't think I have one here, exclusive to graduates and instructors of the Top Gun program in Fallon in Nevada. Then we made the 50th anniversary Top Gun instructors watch last year in that beautiful blue dial with the Top Gun patch at 9 o'clock. And since then, we've worked with tons and tons of fleet squadrons and then rolled this out to partners like the French Navy, the Royal Army Air Corps, Royal Australian Air Force is coming. I think that's still a secret, but okay. It's on all of those things where we really learn a lot now from having our watches in operation in fast jet cockpits around the world, being subjected to G-forces, pressure drops, mechanical banging around, the corrosive forces of salt water and salt in the air and so on. And that really helps us to increase the performance of our pilots' watches all of the time. And the first watch that was directly inspired by our military collaboration pieces was the Top Gun Chronograph Mojave Desert from a couple of years ago in the unique sand-colored ceramic. I was directly inspired by the flight equipment we saw pilots wear up at China Lake in California when they're training in the Rainbow Canyon systems of the Mojave Desert. It's a low-flight training range there. This one had this unique colored ceramic case with a fully matched subdued strap and dial, Top Gun engraving in the back, a 500 limited edition from 2019. And we're now adding 2 new models to the range. Firstly, the Big Pilot automatic 46 millimeters Top Gun Mojave Desert. This one in all the same finish, the beautiful effect of that subdued dial with the power reserve. The textile inlay here on the strap will be perfectly color matched. That's still a prototype, so it'll be the same color, titanium crown. And then you have the case back here with the Top Gun logo. This watch we're changing from limited edition to a limited annual production. This one will be 250 pieces per year. Reference price point in Swiss francs will be 15,900 francs. And then finally, the third piece to complete that Mojave Desert lineup will be the Big Pilot 46 millimeter Perpetual calendar Top Gun Mojave Desert. That's almost as long as the model names in Mercedes-Benz that have to fit across the hood. But this one here, full Perpetual calendar, double moon, 4-digit year display, and of course, beautiful glass case back showcasing that 52 caliber movement with peloton, dual winding, twin barrel movement as well. My turn this around, you shall see the 2 barrels here under that main bridge in the 52 caliber. 7 days power reserve. This one, 150 pieces per year. And the reference price point will be 35,000 Swiss francs, completing that sand-colored lineup. And we then have 2 more colorways coming later in the year for Top Gun. One of them might be closely related to what I'm wearing today, but I'm not giving it away. And then there's another one coming, which probably also a color that I'm wearing today, but yeah, never mind. And Jessica is...
Chris, before you get in even more trouble with Jessica, can I ask what the sneakers are that you're matching to the Mojave? Because that's the big question.
Well, there's recently, if you're matching to the Mojave, there's a host of opportunities. The most recently released one is an Air Max 90 that comes in full desert color with some orange accents on the tongue and on the front of the trainer. So that's the closest current Nike lineup mix to match with the Mojave. I'm sure there were more in the past because I think it's originally, and that's not a secret, when we started the Mojave Desert development, one of the first reference pictures I sent to my creative director was, in fact, a Nike sneaker I saw somewhere traveling, can't remember where, that had all of these different materials coming together in the same color. And of course, that was sort of the inspiration for tuning the different material effects in the strap and the case and the dial to give us that sort of tactical look that at the same time is obviously quite fashionable in terms of this kind of technical tone-in-tone look.
Amazing.
Right, and then finally, I don't know where we go from here. I just want to share this with your viewers as well. This is an interesting innovation we've come up with from our range of bracelets and accessories, straps really. So we've been working. Oh, focus, camera. Good morning.
Have you been drinking?
Camera's drinking, definitely. So this is our new range of TimberTech straps. It's a 100% vegan and animal-free and mostly recycled strap that really is combined, sort of still having a very nice touch and feel with the good wearing properties on the skin. We have all the same resistance that we demand from our calf leather straps, but in fact, it's a 80% FSC certified paper fiber upper combined with a 100% recycled microfiber lining material, making this really an interesting alternative that's 100% vegan. And also this goes in line with what we've just done with our precious metals. We've just been, can you go back to split, please? We've just been awarded the chain of custody certification from the Responsible Jewelry Council, meaning that we can now trace all our precious metal components in our watch cases individually per watch back to the original source. And hopefully that's another step to show that we make a very responsibly manufactured product at IWC. There we are. That's a little bit of the first glimpse. We have 4 waves of launches this year. This is wave number 1 on the 7th of April. There will be a unique technical surprise, but if I say any more, they'll cut me off now. And we'll share that on the 7th of April. And then the next launch wave will really come in June, July.
Fantastic.
Show more of our pieces.
Chris, I have 2 questions within our time. Firstly is, how do those straps feel to the touch? You had gloves on them. What's the tactility of those vegan straps? Do they feel like fabric?
It feels very close to a calf leather strap in terms of surface finish. It's probably a touch rougher than calf leather, but you have a really nice matte look that you get from that, because I have, there are a couple of issues with alternative strap materials. Either they need to be pumped full of plastic to actually give you the resistance you're after, or alternatively, they feel horrible or they smell horrible, which also exists. I've cancelled one strap which had a really nice surface feel, but we couldn't make it not smell. And that's also, it's not great. So, your product's great, but it stinks. It's not what you want from a strap. So that's really that balancing act of having the right look, to have a nice touch and feel, to have the resistance you want, and to not have the necessity of having 80% plastic underneath your apple fiber to be able to work this material.
Thanks so much for that. Amazing to speak to you today. I feel like Time+Tide and IWC have a great connection through you.
Absolutely. Thank you for all your support. Amazing platform you've got.